The parking lot outside the elementary school buzzed with SUVs and shiny sedans, their polished bodies gleaming in the late afternoon sun. Parents in crisp suits and tailored dresses leaned casually against their spotless vehicles, scrolling through phones or chatting in low, pleasant voices as they waited for the dismissal bell to ring. And then there was Luke. Luke's truck wheezed and rattled into the lot, its faded blue paint chipping and a patch of rust creeping up from the wheel well like an unwelcome vine. The engine coughed before cutting off with a shudder. Heads turned. Some parents smirked. Others whispered. One dad with slick back hair even let out a low laugh, loud enough to carry. Junkyard called, he said to no one in particular. They want their truck back. Luke felt the familiar heat rising to his cheeks, but he said nothing. He killed the engine, opened his door, and stepped out with a quiet dignity, even as a mother in heels pinched her nose dramatically as she walked by. He wasn't here to impress anyone. He was here for Emily. His little girl came bounding out of the building moments later, pigtails bouncing, backpack swinging. "Daddy," she cried, throwing herself into his arms. And just like that, everything else faded. But not for long. As Luke buckled Emily into her booster seat, he heard it again, mocking laughter behind him. "Man," someone muttered, loud enough to sting. "What kind of father drives a piece of junk like that?" Luke straightened up, jaw tight, but forced himself to stay calm. Emily didn't need to see him angry. That's when a voice, clear and firm, cut through the murmurs. "Excuse me." Everyone turned. A woman in a smart navy suit, her heels clicking on the pavement, stood near the group. Her presence commanded attention. She was tall, elegant, and unfamiliar to most of the regulars. "I couldn't help but overhear," she continued, her eyes sweeping over the crowd before resting on Luke. "Is that your truck, sir?" Luke hesitated, unsure what to say. Yeah. It is." She smiled, warmly, genuinely. "Beautiful choice." The group of parents blinked, confused. "Sorry," sneered the man with slick hair. She turned her gaze on him now, her smile still polite but her eyes sharp. "I said it's a beautiful choice. Because it's his. Because it gets him where he needs to go. Because it's paid for, I imagine." Luke nodded, stunned. "Good," she said simply. "And you know something else?" She walked over to his truck, running her fingers gently over the dented door like it was some rare treasure. "We built this model tough. Reliable. This baby could outlast some of those luxury cars any day." Luke blinked. "We built?" That's when he noticed the emblem on her lapel. The dealership's logo. The group fell quiet. "I own the dealership in town," she explained, now addressing the crowd. "We sold plenty of these trucks back in the day. To good, hard-working folks who needed something dependable. Folks who put family first. Like," she turned back to Luke, "like this dad here." The silence was deafening. Luke swallowed hard, his throat tight. She turned to him one more time and added softly, so only he could hear. "Don't ever let anyone make you feel small for putting your child before your ego. You're doing just fine." And with that, she gave him a wink, turned on her heel, and walked away, her heels clicking again as the group parted to let her pass. Later that evening, after Emily had fallen asleep in her bed, Luke sat in his truck for a moment before heading inside. He ran his hand over the steering wheel, feeling the worn grooves under his fingers. For the first time in a long time, he didn't see dents and rust. He saw reliability. He saw late-night runs to the ER when Emily was sick. He saw trips to the park and camping under the stars. He saw all the ways he'd shown up, even when it was hard. And he realized something. This truck wasn't a mark of shame. It was a badge of love. The next morning, Luke pulled into the school parking lot the same way he always did. And this time, when he stepped out, he held his head a little higher. Because he knew now what mattered. Not the shine on his truck, but the shine in his daughter's eyes when she saw him waiting. What you drive doesn't define you. How you love does. Never be ashamed of the sacrifices you make for your family, because kindness, resilience, and love never go out of style.